I'll be the first to admit when I say that I'm a pretty big fan of Batman. Now, I'll be honest, it's not like I'm some whiz. I'm a comic casual. I really am when it comes to superheroes and stuff like that. Now, over the course of this channel, I will admit, I feel like I've gotten a lot more information kind of absorbed into my very, very slow brain about so many of these comic characters. And Batman is one that I've done quite a few videos on, but I was like, you know what? I love anime. I was like, let's do a bit of a crossover today. So today we're going to be talking about could Batman himself, the one and only Bruce Wayne Batman, right, the Dark Knight, could he survive the world of Demon Slayer? Or could he survive the Demon Slayer universe? This is something that I wanted to bring up because honestly, I might sound like a Batman glazer, or I might sound like somebody who is like, oh, Batman, with prep time, he can do anything. And to an extent, I don't think that's too far off. Now, obviously, there are various versions of Batman that we could reference, could talk about, and try to power scale. But I'm not here to power scale. I don't like the idea of power scaling necessarily. I just want to talk about what he brings to the table in terms of the Demon Slayer universe, how he could approach it, and what he would be able to do in this universe more specifically. Now, let me set the stage for you specifically about what could happen. We have Batman jumping into the universe, the universe of Demon Slayer, and he would be sent to a very old era of Japan. No tech, no infrastructure, no back computer, no backup, none of these things. But Batman still has all of his abilities in terms of fighting capabilities and his intelligence, his detective work, all of these things. But Bruce Wayne is basically sent here with very little gear, if not any at all. So in an essence, Batman would be dropped into this world of Demon Slayer without a lot of the things that make him very, very powerful, or at least make him very, very prepared. Now, it's no joke when you say that Batman physically and mentally is on a totally different level. Batman's not only just peak human, but he's also just peak anything. Because when you look at it and you're like, well, Batman's just a human. If you look at the things Batman's able to do in terms of strength, reflexes, endurance, pain tolerance, intelligence, all of these things, you would look at it and be like, I don't know if this guy's really human. Now, he is definitely a human, but the things he portrays, the things he does, makes it seem to you like maybe this guy is beyond the human comprehension. Maybe he's beyond human conditioning. It's not just peak, he has shattered the ceiling of what it could possibly be in terms of peak human conditioning, strength, reflexes, all of these things. He is at a totally different level. Now with Demon Slayer, yes, he has definitely a Hashira tier in body control, in terms of strength, in terms of all these things alone already. Like, he legitimately is at that level by far, but he doesn't even have the breathing styles that they may, or that he will be able to utilize in the long run. Because, by the way, he's so smart, so intelligent, that he'd be able to find a way to utilize these breathing styles, or a breathing style, or maybe even create his own version of a breathing style that could make him very, very overpowered. Like, very overpowered. Because we know what the breathing styles, or concentration breathing, or total concentration breathing constant does for the human body. It makes it more powerful. It strengthens it. It makes it far greater than it would have normally been in the first place. We saw what the capabilities, well, that was bad, my fault about that. We saw what the capabilities and how it increased with Tanjiro Kamado. The idea of how he strengthened himself, how he got more powerful, and all of the above. With Batman, it would be even greater. Batman's already at peak physical condition. Like, he's already at a point where he is ridiculously powerful. And maybe some people will start asking, well, if you just dropped him in Demon Slayer and gave him a Nichiren blade, could he defeat all of these demons? I'm not so sure about that. And honestly, you might disagree with me on that. And maybe there's some people out there that are even more hype on Batman himself, and I love Batman to death, but it'd just be a very difficult task for him with no breathing style, no nothing, and only just a Nichiren blade, and without a lot of his like utility and stuff, to actually defeat some of the higher rank demons. Now, could he defeat your typical demon? Of course. It would be light work. I truly believe that. It would be light work for someone like Bruce Wayne or Batman to defeat some random typical demon. Maybe even a lower member of the 12 Kizuki. But the thing is that makes things very awkward is the fact that he doesn't necessarily know what these demons can do, right? He doesn't have like a whole spreadsheet of what every single demon that ever existed can possibly do, and it makes things very difficult. So that's why I don't believe him jumping into Demon Slayer, getting a Nichiren blade, and just immediately going and trying to kill demons is going to allow him to defeat all the demons and eventually defeat Muzan. That's not going to happen. I just don't believe that to be true. But if you start actually implementing the things that Demon Slayer has within Batman, it's a totally different conversation that we're having. Now, obviously, there's some big question marks on the idea of how strong would Batman eventually get. But let's be honest, Batman went through hell and back in terms of his training, his ability, and everything he's learned to a large extent. So if you gave him proper training, the same way Tanjiro got his training, I mean, there is no denying that he would be ridiculous in terms of strength. I mean, you could even potentially get a Batman have a custom style of breathing called maybe like shadow breathing, maybe like, I don't know, Dark Knight breathing or something along those lines, where it is all based around the darkness, which is perfect, right? Because you're always at night, and you're always fighting at night. But on top of that, it is basically him utilizing the darkness, vanishing within the darkness, and kind of utilizing a lack of presence, which is a big thing, especially in Demon Slayer, a lack of presence to surprise and kind of counter and defeat many, many demons. And another thing that is definitely not to be overlooked is he would have prep time here. Like, to an extent, he would. Now, of course, he wouldn't jump in and then immediately know everything, but I can definitely tell you with pure confidence that he would live long enough to do plenty of research and maybe even meet up with various people and various Demon Slayers and various Hashira, because that's another thing. If he meets up with the Hashira and Shinobu and like these characters as well, I mean, it might just be a wrap for a lot of these demons, because you give them a week of research on Nichiren blades, how they work, wisteria flowers, all those things, the demon biology. I mean, Batman would be able to legitimately create things that are more to the time, but create things maybe that be able to mimic UV grenade-like things, right? Mimicking sunlight. Now, it wouldn't be grenades specifically. We know that there is a limit on technology here. But knowing Batman, he'd be able to come up with a pseudo version of it. Maybe even create a version of his armor that he obviously doesn't have, but create an armor that would be resistant to so many things that the demons can actually do. Maybe even develop stuff that would be able to basically hard counter demons in general. And don't even get me started on the idea of him helping with the final battle, because the whole thing is Shinobu and Leda Tamayao create this cure, right? Create this cure to basically stop Muzan and blah, 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 and all these things. Now, with that happening, those two characters, imagine having Batman there as well, who is insanely intelligent, knows a ton of stuff on various things as well, in terms of like him understanding, you know, various chemicals and compounds. And on top of that, imagine him creating like a fear toxin-esque thing where the demons themselves are massively affected by some sort of fear toxin that forces them to look at Batman and look at Bruce and think that's Yorichi at all times. That could be something that genuinely is created by Batman or by Bruce Wayne, which would terrify, completely mess with the psyche of villains entirely, and mess with them so much that Batman would have so many upper hands. But like I said, Lower Moons, they're really not going to be a big deal for Batman, especially when he trains, when he prepares, when he, gets his breathing style, or maybe he decides to train with various people there to learn their ways. And let's be honest, Batman is a freaking prodigy, and he'd be able to figure out how all of them move, how they utilize their kind of their breathing styles to their own advantage, and all this stuff. Imagine him literally training or even watching the Hashira train, and he's like, oh yeah, I got your breathing style down to a T. Actually, I know every single weakness in your breathing style technique, in your fighting style. If he's able to do that, I mean, we're talking about a totally different version of the Hashira and all the Demon Slayers alike. Now, some of the Demon Slayers, they definitely don't take to criticism very well, or more like the Hashira don't take to criticism very well. At least some of them don't. But I could see potentially Batman or Bruce eventually getting kind of them to trust him, and when they listen to him, they're gonna start realizing like, oh snap, like he might be right, like this might be a good idea, to do this instead of this, and to do this instead of that, in terms of the breathing style that they're utilizing, and or kind of the technique that they're utilizing. And that right there, I mean, it would change up so freaking much. It would change up everything that is basically being pushed forward in terms of how strong some of these demons can be, but also how strong some of these Hashira have basically the potential of being. And Bruce could literally be a person where he helps them be even more powerful beyond imagination. But that's not where it only stops, right? Obviously, Batman could grow in potential, grow in strength, and grow in everything, and all that with breathing styles, concentration breathing, just raw training within the Demon Slayer universe as well. Everything helps, and the breathing styles, and the breathing techniques really do like push the human body to a different limit. So imagine if he has that as well. That would be ridiculous on top of everything that is going on. But another thing that I want to bring up is in terms of facing off with these various other demons, like the upper moons, which would be tough. There's no denying that these demons would be tough, but Batman would probably have a basic strategy for every single one of them, involving some sort of, demon cure / wisteria type of thing, where basically he's able to utilize some sort of potent thing that allows the demon to basically be affected by it, slowed down by it, and even kind of like fear maybe Batman to an extent, utilizing some sort of pseudo fear toxin as well. These things could genuinely be a thing that is created by him, but obviously all these demons, like, he's not gonna fight them alone. So surviving in Demon Slayer is definitely possible, and thriving in it is probably just as possible as well. And one person I wanted to talk about is Akaza. I could see Batman having basically an aura-less type of, or not really an aura-less, but kind of idea, at least a fighting spirit idea, because the whole idea of Akaza is that he can sense fighting spirit. So imagine Batman or Bruce here, who can basically hide his spirit, or hide himself away in the darkness and stuff like that. It's hard to sense him, if impossible almost to sense him. So Akaza would have crazy trouble with someone like Batman. In terms of like Doma and stuff like that, it would definitely have to start with a pretty impressive strategy, but he definitely would pick up on a lot of what Doma does, and a lot of what these other demons do as well. What they're kind of what they're lacking, and really what they need to be even more kind of a threat. But Batman obviously would expose everything that they're lacking, right? Doma, he's arrogant, he has a reliance on his like ice-like abilities, and you could see Batman thriving in those type of moments where he starts really, really taking over, because he quickly understands what they're trying to do, what they're trying to push forward on, and also realizing that these demons, they're arrogant, and also they love to make mistakes, because they're thinking, I'm invincible, I get cut, I do this, I get my arm sliced off, I just heal it back. And Batman, well, he would definitely be focused in on the idea of getting the job done as soon as possible. And in terms of the demons, he would have no issues killing them because they're, well, legitimately already dead. I mean, it's hard to put the whole no kill idea here because these demons are legitimately creatures that can't really be put behind bars. You know, they can't be rehabilitated to for the most part. They can be cured, so maybe that is something he tries to do. But in terms of like making a cure potent enough, it would be a pretty insane task. And even if he does make a cure potent enough, I could see the cure like affecting these higher ranked demons so much that they end up just, well, dying anyways. So that definitely could happen as well. But to really answer the idea and the question of could Batman survive the Demon Slayer universe, I don't think, or I honestly believe without a doubt that Batman would survive the universe. And frankly, I think he would thrive in a universe like this, especially because of how high level of kind of peak condition his like martial arts and all these things, like everything that he has already as Batman outside of like, you know, the gadgets and stuff. I mean, he already starts there. So imagine dropping him into this world, how quickly he would pick up on things, how quickly he would learn. He would be above almost all the Hashira, if not all the Hashira, in a matter of like a month. Like that quickly, he would be just done. But like I said, if you just dropped him into the world with a Nichirin blade, I mean, he would do well, but I just don't foresee him somehow beating all these demons without, like, you know, a breathing style, without prior training with concentration breathing constant, and also just like a plan of some sorts, because we all know that these demons, they have a lot of upper hand. They have a lot of things going for them. So it'd be very difficult for someone like Batman to really handle things the way he normally does in a situation like this. But the no kill rule does become an issue depending on the way you look at it. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say about the idea, about Demon Slayer, about Batman surviving Demon Slayer or the Demon Slayer universe. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say about if he could survive, how would he do, and if he would thrive in this universe based on the things that I put in front of you. Now, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. Sorry if I sound a little bit sick because, well, that's exactly what I am. I'm a little bit sick. So sorry about that. If you were like, oh, it's kind of annoying that your voice sounds different, my apologies. Hopefully I feel better by the next videos that end up coming out. Now, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you enjoyed this video, YouTube believes you'll enjoy this one. So might as well go check it out.